Lord, who hath blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by God to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will, to the praise of the glory of his grace, wherein he hath made us accepted in the beloved.
I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel, and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now are they crowned, and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things, and how great wonders of the Lord thy God thou hast seen.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards young brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, and what I want to get into today, is dealing with this toxic, this poisonous empire. All right, and when we speak of poison and toxins, that they're deadly, to the body. All right, and this man's empire, is nothing but poison and toxin in every way, spiritually, mentally, physically, and this lesson is inspired by a video done by the beloved brother, Preach Kaya, out of the GMS New Orleans camp, and he was going into a John D. Rockefeller quote about pushing poison. All right, the brother Chandler is on GMS, Fruit of Faith, subscribe, all right, and be edified. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that video in the link. It's this video here, and I'm gonna put it in the link. Okay, well, when I looked at that quote, it made me go look up. When I looked at the video, it made me go look up the actual quote, which I found it on Instagram. Okay, but this is the original video that the brother made, John D. Rockefeller quote about pushing poison. And I just went and looked it up, and so I'm gonna put this video in the link. All right, and we're gonna go into it. Well, first we're gonna start off with a couple precepts. Okay, that describes okay the poison of the devil's empire. Now let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Then we get that quote. Then I got a video as well. But so you go to Deuteronomy 32. Okay, it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 32. It says, "For their vine is the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their cluster are bitter." And this is speaking of Esau, Edom, because you go into after the flood, okay, it was Ham, mainly those Canaanites that picked up, all right, those satanic, okay, rituals and worship, which origin goes back to the serpent, okay, but Ham, all right, which they became, established, the Sumerian Empire, Egypt, Babylonian, they began to erect empires in the earth, okay, kingdoms in the earth, those Hamites, and they was heavy into, all right, Satanism and wickedness, okay, sexual lewdness. You see, and Esau, Edom, when he came into power, what did he do? He tapped into that. As the Greeks and as the Romans, all right, and as the Greco-Roman Empire has been revived, he's tapped into that again on a whole nother level. Okay, but their grapes is their, their doctrine are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. Okay, let's go into the word bitter. Okay, because this man has set up a very bitter kingdom, man. All right, and it's getting more and more bitter. He has saturated people with convenience and entertainment and distractions, to mask the bitterness of this empire. But now the bitterness is even, showing through that. The bitterness is being felt, through the distractions, okay, through the convenience, all right. And you go into a word in the Hebrew, all right, it's marah, all right, marah, which you go into America, all right, marah goes into bitter, okay. It says bitter, okay, poison, venom, bitter thing, or bitterness, man. And this is a bitter, all right, captivity, man. This man has a very poison and venomous captivity that he set up. His doctrine leads to bitterness, man. Okay. The cultures that this man pushes and glorifies in the earth are bitter. Okay. The food, bitter. You see? Or, relationships, marriages, everything is bitter here, man. Okay. The education, bitter. The economy, bitter. You see? Verse 32 says their wine, their doctrine is the poison of dragons. Okay. There's no coincidence. It said the poison of dragons, man. Okay. Which we know we're in the dragon. Okay. The kingdom of the dragon. All right. Rome Reloaded. Okay. It says in cruel venom of asp. So let's get this word poison. Okay. Because you go into this word poison. All right. Which is in the Hebrew is Hama. All right. Hama in the Hebrew. No, Kama. So like Kama in the Hebrew, which goes into what a heat, hot displeasure, anger, wrath, burning anger. Okay. You see? And this man, the scriptures speak about what? That this man, okay, how he will rule. Okay, because it is an empire. This man rules the earth in anger, man. Like he poisons the people like he's pissed, at life, man. This man hates life. He hates people. Okay, Isaiah 14:6. It says, he, speaking of Esau, Edom, who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth, man. Okay, so it described this man as ruling the people in wrath and a continual stroke, man, because he always has some type of new wickedness that he's doing to the masses, man, especially the tribes. Okay, well, this man always has some type of new wickedness. It's a continuation of just wickedness, man. Okay, that destroys the masses. You see, and when you go into it, I want to get this quote going back to this guy, John D. Rockefeller. Okay, so let's go back to the quote. Now, I found this on Instagram, and it went into the whole quote. I know it's gonna be kind of small. Let me see if I can blow it up, or if I can. All right, so when you go, try to get as big as I could, but so let's just read this quote. All right, so this is from The Secret Covenant, John D. Rockefeller. All right, now I'm gonna skim through it because the main points toward the middle. It says, "An illusion it will be so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane." You know, that's why even to this day, when you call particular things out, okay, you know, you're labeled, you know, conspiracy theorists, you know, bugged out, you know, who got time to do that? You know, why would they do that? You know, it's intentionally that way. Okay, it said we will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. And see, that's what these devils do, you know, because you don't connect, you know, the Black Rock Foundation with the Rothschild Incorporated. You know, you don't connect the WEF, okay, with who, and both of them are under, you know, the banner of, you know, these particular elite families. Okay, you know the G6 summit. Okay, but then you have the Davos summit. All right, so you have all these. You never know who's really in charge, what's what. Okay, so people never can connect. All right, that this one big conglomerate that's controlling everything, man. Okay, it said we will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Okay, so you don't associate what Donald Trump is doing is taking order from the elites. You know, and he pushed it because what did Donald Trump push? He pushed it as if he's against, okay, the elites. Okay, he's against the deep states. All these things are connected. Okay, you don't associate Kellogg cereal with the elites. All of it's connected. You see, you know, fast food chain, Walmart, Amazon. You know, you think of all these different, you know, entities, okay, that are independent from one another, but it all works together, man. Okay, and the elites on the background financing and running everything. Okay, it says, our goals will be accomplished one drop at a time. That slow drip. Okay, the things that are normal now, it took a slow drip. You know, the things that have been normalized because I mean the brother spoke on it the other day. The wickedness that's normal now was unheard of 30, 40 years ago. Okay, but it was a slow drip to this point. You see, the poison in the food now, it's been a slow drip to get to this point. Because there was a time when the food was authentic. Okay, but over time, all right, these devils, you know, have been slowly dripping poison to now you go to, you know, your average grocery store and it's 90% chemicals, man. Okay, you got food products. Okay, you get, you know, you can get pickles and it might have a trace of an actual pickle. The rest of it chemicals. You see, just giving an example where it was a slow drip to get to that process, man. Okay, it says our goals will be accomplished one drop at a time so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field, okay, of their experience, which is reality, man. These devils, you know, they control what most people see. Okay, and the only viewpoint that they don't have control of is the scriptures. That's why Yahweh said you should know the truth, and the truth shall set you free when you have the true understanding of the scriptures. Okay, because they have many false interpretations of the scriptures, but the true understanding, okay, of the scriptures gives us perspective that we can see, all right, clearly, man. You know, we can see beyond what this devil has painted as reality, man. Okay, it says, "For we know the secrets of the absolute. We will work together always and will remain bound by blood and secrecy." It says, "Death will come to he who speaks." Okay, we will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. Okay, we will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite, man. Okay, so these devils, you know, here it is, they're at war, okay, with the masses of people, man, to come in person. Okay, and it's a covert war through food, through entertainment, okay, through music, okay, through religion. All right, and it's all to destroy the mind. Okay, because they want people to be in zombie mode. They don't want people to think. Okay, they want people to have just enough wits to work. Okay, and keep producing more workers. You see, but then they push as if, you know, he's just so into education and enhancing, you know, people, and he knows that he just humanitarian, and you know, he's just all about the better good of the masses, man. Okay, it said while we use, matter of fact, it said we will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways. Okay, in subtle ways. What did it say about the serpent? He was more subtle than any beast of the field. Okay, the serpent, this is who's in power. All right, witchcraft, dark magic, subtlety, man. Okay, it says ways, it says we will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, agent accelerators, and sedators in food and water, also in air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their mind. We will promise to find a cure from our fronts, yet all right, we will feed them more poison, man. So while they're telling you, you know, you got what they breast cancer month, everybody wearing pink. Okay, so you're thinking, man, they're really fighting and, you know, trying. You know, they give you these commercials about the hospital and how this hospital saved this many lives. You know, they got this breakthrough research and, you know, all these different things, as if, okay, they're on the front line fighting, okay, against these things. No, they're the ones that's pushing the poison. They're the one that's okaying to put the poisons in the food, to put the poisons in the water, okay, in the products. You see, this kingdom is saturated with poison, and America has it the worst. Okay, it says the poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouth. They will destroy their minds and reproductive system from all their children. All right, it says from all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. It says the poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them and what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. That's another form, even the stuff we wear. Certain materials, man, everything you, especially as a man, everything lowers your testosterone, man. The toothpaste, the boxes you wear, the elastic in the boxes. You're like, God damn, the elastic in the socks, lower testosterone. You see, you know, you sweat, and you know, you sweat in a particular type of material, and it activates some type of toxin, man. You like, God damn, you know, but this is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. This is what he would do. Okay, it says the poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them and what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisonous for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good, all right, with fun images and musical tones. Those they look up to, actors and musicians, will help. We will enlist them to push our poison. See, the elites don't care about, all right, music in itself. Okay, as far as you people being entertained by music. Okay, they don't care about people being entertained by, all right, celebrities. No, they use these celebrities. You see, you think that that's another thing. You separate celebrities, okay, from being tools of influence. Okay, you think this certain actor just is so good of an actor, and they give you a backstory to these certain celebrities. You would think that these just authentic people that have made it big. No, these are tools. They've been through rituals. They've been, given, they've been trained up on how to speak, what signs to throw, particular things. They're lower level, witches and warlocks. Okay, and they're used to enchant the masses, man. Okay, it says we will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products used in film and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effects. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it's for their health, man. Going to the juice, man. Okay, so this is the devil, John D. Rockefeller, man. Okay, and this is how these elites think of the masses, man. Okay, and it's worse, okay, amongst the tribes. You see? So let's go here. I'm gonna get this video. Well, I know brother got some presets. We'll get what y'all brothers got. All right. Yeah, let's go here. Brother got a few. So let's get this one. Okay. This is the brother Bun Yasha Sharach 14:5. It says, he that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods, man. Okay, so this man destroys the earth that he has to live on. He destroys the food supply, even though, they try to have, their separate foods and different things. But guess what, man? You're still, all right, making it to where Esau is destroying the earth he's living on. He's destroying life around him on the planet that he's living on. So who can the devil be good to when he doesn't even care about destroying the planet that he's on? Okay, and it says verse 7. You jump down verse 7 from the brother Bayan Yasha'Allah. It says, this Sirach 14:7. It says, and if he do it good, he doeth it unwillingly, and at the last he will declare his wickedness. At the last he will declare his wickedness, man. Okay, this is what this devil is about. All right, when the scriptures speak about even the angel, Satan has transformed himself to the angel of light, which they were speaking about, false prophets, okay, back then. Okay, that was trying to corrupt the church. Okay, well, was you related to this time? All right, Esau has done that on a whole nother scale. Okay, to where people really look at this man and say, okay, he has our best interest in mind. Okay, people look at certain things, just because something is government approved, the different, the FD, the F to the D to the A. Okay, the U to the S to the D to the A. These different agencies are supposed to regulate, your food, your medicines, and your different things. And it's like, okay, if you got this stamp on it, we good. Nah, man. All right, those agencies are all right, tools, okay, of the elites, man. If they did have, and if any government agency ever had any integrity, They've been bought and paid for now. Okay, they've been chipped away at and fully compromised. All right, there's nothing between, okay, the corporations, all right, these elite corporations and the people. Okay, there was a time when there was a government buffer between the corporations, okay, and the people. You see, that no longer exists, man, and Trump is a representative of that. Okay, that buffer is over with. So let's play this, all right, just to show you now. Most of these things we shouldn't be consuming anyway. All right, but we know everything is defiled here. If a brother can put that, you should eat your bread defiled amongst the Gentiles. So there's some things we can't get around. Okay, we eat the best of the worst. All right, but this is just to show you that, these devils intentionally just put poison in everything that they can. Okay, so let me play this. All right, I said, brother, can get that. I think that's Ezekiel 4:7, Bible Shah, and we let this play.
Most Americans want to believe that the United States is the gold standard of clean food. But that belief may not hold up to scrutiny. From unsanitary practices in mass production to the addition of dangerous chemicals, countries have good reason to give the side eye to imported foods claiming to be USDA approved. That's right. This week we're talking about American foods that have been banned by other countries. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. Then leave a comment and tell us what other world food facts you would like to know more about. Now let's see how wrong the rest of the world really is. Since the dawn of Skittles, there have been rumors about the dangers of eating them. Every one of us heard at least one classmate claim that the red ones make you sterile, and the yellow ones, they give you cancer. Turns out, it might be worse than that. First of all, your classmate wasn't wrong. The dyes known as Yellow 5 and Yellow 6 have been linked to hives and hyperactivity in children. Sweden and Norway have banned the candies out of concern. The European Union will most likely be banning Skittles at the end of the year, having already swapped out some of the dye for more natural flavors. This is because of something called titanium dioxide, which can be found making the colors pop across the rainbow. Research linked titanium dioxide to damaged DNA, which can lead to cancer. While Europe may be ahead of the Skittles awareness curve, America is quickly catching up. In May of 2021, the Environmental Working Group asked the FDA to categorize titanium dioxide as toxic. And yes, before you ask, right now the FDA says it's okay to consume some of that chemical compound. You can taste the rainbow, but just in moderation. California is home to an ongoing lawsuit against Mars Inc., the parent company of Skittles. The lawsuit claims Skittles are not only toxic, but are unfit for human consumption. So maybe for now, play it safe. Just go have some Swedish fish instead. Ever looked at a piece of crusty French baguette, be it in cartoon or in real life, but let's be honest, it was probably in the hands of Pepe Le Pew, and think, I can't make a sandwich with that? As great as we talk about the invention of sliced bread, a lot of European countries have actually banned much of what you'd find on America's wide grocer shelves. That's because we make a lot of our bread not just with grain, but with a variety snap packs worth of additives, like azodicarbonamide, for example, which helps bleach flour and strengthen dough. Fun fact about azodicarbonamide, it's also used in a spectrum of industrial products, including yoga mats. Downward dogs. The European Union is really against the idea of its citizens eating yoga mat material and has banned their use in food products. Pork, the other white meat, is a staple of American meats, along with chicken, fish, and beef. From bacon to ham, hot dogs to pork chops. American meat eaters consume about 67 pounds of pig per person every year. Soo-wee, my heart is stopping. Don't get us wrong, other nations indulge in swine just as much, if not more, than Americans. So why doesn't the U.S. export scores of succulent bacon-bearing boars? Well, it turns out America adds a lot of chemicals during processing. Ractopamine in particular is used in many pig farms to raise porkier porkers. Ractopamine, which we put a dash of in a lot of foods, has been banned in 160 countries, which all consider the drug unsafe for human consumption. This in turn has led to a prohibition of pork exports across the world. The EU hasn't touched the stuff since outlawing ractopamine in 2009. China and Russia have been ractopamine-less since 2013. Maybe that's because ractopamine has the same effects as an intoxicant on humans and can cause tachycardia, headaches, and muscle spasms if consumed in large enough quantities. But it is a small price to pay for a perfect piece of the pork. Hygiene in America often comes down to dousing stuff in a chlorine bath and calling it FDA approved, and chicken is no exception. Pathogen reduction treatments, or PRTs, refer to the use of different chemicals to destroy harmful microbes on raw meat. Somewhere along the line, American food regulators decided a quick chlorine shot was the best way to kill salmonella and other bacteria on uncooked poultry. Chlorine marinade. And look, it's not that the EU is against taking a long gulp from the public pool now and then. In fact, the risks posed by chlorine consumption are relatively low. The bigger concern is that the chlorine baths are just an eye-burning Band-Aid on a larger problem. The tip of the beak, so to speak. They're worried that the PRTs are insufficient to deal with more than just the normal bacteria and don't get at a potential contamination from things like low-quality feed to unsanitary coops on farms. The EU called the chlorine rinse an easy fix, arguing no chemical rinse will ever remove all bacteria from meat heavily contaminated as a result of poor hygiene. That hurts extra to hear it from the French. Mountain Dew is the closest any soft drink has come to being fully weaponized. But did you know in Austria and Norway, the soda is outright banned? That's because Mountain Dew's signature Chernobyl radiant hue comes from tartrazine, also known as yellow 5. And if your ADHD hasn't kicked in yet, you'll remember that color and number from the Skittles section earlier. It's been linked to headaches, hyperactivity, and the desire to be annoying to other people. Ironically, the qualities that make Mountain Dew a soda non gratis in other countries is exactly what the brand promotes: a frenetic, overcaffeinated lifestyle. Do the do. Baja Blast. Woo-hoo. And while you might be able to find Mountain Dew in Europe, it's going to hit a little different. That's because Europe spent exactly 2 years in the 90s riding the dew before discontinuing it. What is being sold as Mountain Dew in the EU as a recipe closer to the original carbonated beverage, as created by Tennessee beverage bottlers Barney and Ollie Hartman in the 1940s. The original Mountain Dew was Milky Mixer, the name coming from the affectionate Scottish term for moonshine. It'll tickle your innards, is what the old ads used to read. No lies detected here.
Yahoo! Mountain Dew!
Little Debbie has been providing Americans with comfort snack food since the 1960s, with their variety of zebra cakes, star crunches, nutty bars, fudge rounds, and cosmic brownies. But their big claim to fame, as anyone who has ever had their lunch packed by a parent can attest, is the Little Debbie Swiss Rolls, a mixture of rich chocolate cake and butter-creamy filling. Over 900 million cartons of Little Debbie products are shipped each year, but none of those cartons go anywhere near Austria or Norway. Blame those rascally additives, yellow 5 and red 40. Swiss rolls contain 32 milligrams of dye per product, and in those quantities, they've been shown to have an adverse effect on children. And we're not just talking about causing hyperactivity, although one study found that cutting all artificial food coloring from diets may be 1/2 as effective as prescribing kids Ritalin. And while we can't prove there's a direct connection between artificial food coloring and cancer, they do cause damage to white blood cells, causing them to mutate after only 3 hours. Exposure to these dyes could cause tumor cells to multiply way more rapidly. For that reason, researchers say a high chronic intake of food colorings throughout the entire life is not advisable. If only they weren't so delicious. Surprisingly, you can buy Little Debbie's Swiss rolls in the EU, but they come with warning labels advising parents of the potential dangers to kids. You know, like cigarettes.
So just to go through, some of them, which at the end of the day, I think the only thing that, we, should be eating from that list is the chicken, and say the chicken itself isn't a bad thing, you know, but the way that this devil prepares everything, everything he adds, to, and there are, healthier choices, more natural choices, certain grocery stores, but this devil, he charges you, so much, for a better version, of the things that he's poisoning. It's like you have to pay the devil not to poison the food, you know. He charge you these extra amounts, okay, to get, normal food. So let's go here, get these last few, okay. But this, what I'm saying, this devils, and if a brother can put that in, uh, what that was, oh yeah, Sirach 10 and 10, the physician cut it off the lung disease. All right, Ezekiel 4 and 13, it says, it's the brother hopeful elect, the brother Yaqub. It says, Ezekiel 4 and 13 says, and the Lord Yahweh Bashem al-Shah said, thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I have driven them. Okay, so this was, prophecy, that we would be amongst the Gentiles, these heathens, okay, especially over here in America, man, and things will be defiled. I say the best we can do is eat the best of the worst. Now, some of those, like most of those things, Little Debbie's, and I know brothers have their folly, but goddamn, Little Debbie's and Mountain Dew and Skittles, and we was all addicted to these things, man. Some, you still have your little folly, within your diet, but goddamn, if you're eating, you got Mountain Dew in the left hand and zebra cake in the right, then goddamn, especially, what's the point of having this wisdom, but still destroy yourself. And ultimately, we need to, we just need to get out of here, man. Okay, because some of the things that we avoid here, like bread, okay, these things were staple, in our diets, man, when we was back home, and that's why, we should, have an expectation beyond this whole society, man, that we should have a mindset toward this place being completely destroyed, man. Okay, and going back home. Okay, and Yahweh Shah coming to set the earth right. Okay, because there's certain things that you have to avoid in this society, and be you have to avoid altogether or be moderate. Okay, because the devil has defiled everything, man. This is Sirach 39 and 25. It says, for the good, all right, are the good things created, all right. And it says from the beginning, so evil things for sinners, because everything that was created from the beginning, the Lord said it was good, and we had, what to eat and what not to eat. Okay, we had that from the beginning. You see, the creation itself, the herbs, the vegetation, life, everything was, when you go to Genesis, okay, and you go into that word, it was good, when the Elohim will create something and say it is good, the word tawab in the Hebrew goes into pleasurable, agreeable, okay, everything, was in sync. Okay, the food wasn't created to destroy us, man. But this devil, all right, verse 26, it said the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, salt, flour, wheat, which goes to bread, honey, okay, and milk, okay, and the blood of the grape, the wine, oil, and clothing, okay. So these things are the principal use for a man's life. And this man has defiled all these things, man, from the clothing, to the bread, the honey, the milk, all these things that was created for us to enjoy. This man has defiled it to where it's a poison now. Okay, and this is rulership of the serpent. All right. And it says, verse 27 says, all these things are for good, all right, are for good to the godly. Okay, so the sinners, they are turned into evil, man. So this devil has turned these things which were meant to be good into evil. Okay, this is this man's kingdom. This is the empire poison, man. Okay, Sirach 10:10 it says, "The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that today is a king, tomorrow shall die." And Yahweh Shai is their physician, that's coming to cut off this long disease, man, which is Esau Edom. He has been a disease, okay, has been allowed, to just run rampant in the earth, okay, and we'll get this here and see if Yahweh Shai wasn't sent back, to stop this, man, nothing to make it, man. He would destroy creation at the rate he's going. Okay, the devil would destroy creation, man. The earth will be uninhabitable. It will be nothing, either the food supply chain to be completely destroyed. Okay, if this man was just left to his devices, okay, and to remain in power, all right, he will destroy life, man. All right, that's why you go here, Micah 2:10, it says, "Rise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction," man. Okay, so this is a kingdom of pollution. Okay, this place is polluted. This is not our rest. This is not for us to be comfortable in this setup, man. Okay, so that's why you go here to this word polluted, because it'll destroy you every way. I say it's spiritually polluted, mentally polluted, when you go into the word polluted, it's tamah, okay, which goes into what? To be unclean, all right, to be impure sexually, ritually, ceremonially, defile oneself. So in every way, idolatry, okay, in every way you can think of, this system is set up to poison you. He's, just like in the secret covenant, with John D. Rockefeller. He said, "Look, we're gonna put poison everything around them, what they breathe, eat, wear, and drink, So this place is set up, okay, to just be highly toxic, man, to the spirit, to the body, to the mind, everywhere you can think of. Okay, this is the man of sin. This is the man of poison, man. Okay, so yeah, just wanted to get into that. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters was edified once again, and give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards y'all brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole elect. Shalom.